Everybody, I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful, Bossier City, Louisiana. This is my review of the movie Roofman. Now, this is a movie that I saw on the Carnival cruise that I was on, and it is based on a true story. And um, oh my God, I forgot the guy's last name. His first name is Jeffrey, the character, and he's not a character; he's a real person. This is a true story. Now he was uh, got the moniker in the press, Roofman, um, because he broke into McDonald's restaurants, several of them, I think, up to 45 of them, and through the roof of the McDonald's. That's why he got the Roofman. And he knew where to break in and how to break in, and uh, and then it goes on his story of if you think that's an interesting part of the story, that would be interesting enough, but no, uh, uh, this is where we're going to spoil it, right? Because he ends up living. It was right here. A charming fugitive secretly lives uh, inside a Toys R Us. Okay, until he risk it all for love. So, um, the thing is that this is a person who, a crime is a crime. Uh, and he made very bad choices, criminal choices, uh, but doesn't seem to be an evil person and doesn't seem to be void of love. But, you know, uh, yeah, this kind of does tell things from his perspective, how he what the motivation is, and it kind of I don't know. I identify with it because I have been adjacent to people who have been some of the most horrible people in the lives of others. But I didn't know them in that capacity. I got to know them in a different capacity, in related differently. And you know that adage that says everybody is the villain in somebody's story or something like that, or everybody. I think there's some kind of phrasing like that. I don't know. Uh, there's more to a person than the good deeds that they do, and there's more to a person than the bad deeds that they do. And I think this movie kind of exemplifies that, and displays it in a way that is not excusing of the criminal uh, aspect of it, but also, wow, this guy is still stealing lots of money, but you know, uh, probably could have gotten away with it had he not been so flagrantly stupid. You know, um, you uh, if you're robbing businesses for personal security, but for you and your family or whatever, which was his motivation, and then you're flagrantly like showing it off and everything, then I don't know. Uh, yeah, it was a biblical quote. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. Now it means something completely different, biblically, but in just a common sense kind of way. you know I don't know, it's just yeah, just yeah, he was his own worst enemy. He got himself caught, And then of course that's not where the story ends. That's where the story begins. Uh, the the McDonald's robberies. The real stories happen after, when he begins the relationship with the character, the person who is played by uh, Kirsten Dunst, and her family. She's a single mother at this point, and uh, that yeah. So, have I known someone like this? Yeah. I can tell you, when I was a kid, and I don't know what the deal was, but uh, my sister and I had friends in the neighborhood and everything like that, and there was a family that lived in a house, and then right next door there was an empty house. And one day this man showed up, just living in the house. Uh, well, we came to find out that he was squatting in the house. We thought he had just moved into the house, and maybe the next door neighbors were running a electricity from their house to his to help him out or something like that. And it just turned out he just showed up out of nowhere basically, and befriended and pulled the ultimate bamboozle, and uh, the mother and the teen daughters and everything. And as a matter of fact, the youngest, or the next to the youngest of the daughters or something like that, she was my one of my first girlfriends, Christy. She was my first Christy, and then uh, and of course I've dated a couple of Christies, but yeah, no, I it was kind of cool. But anyway, but his name was Gary, and come to find out, he had a warrant, and he was wanted by police, and it was a big whatever. And but he was squatting in an abandoned house, and all the kids were invited, that knew so and so and everything like that. And it was like, he was like, and this is not just my house, this is our house. And it was basically, for a while there, it was a hangout. And of course, my mother worked, and my father lived out of town at the time. My father was in Houston, because they had been, I guess, recently separated, maybe about 7 or 8 months by this point. And then their separation went on for a couple of years, and then they reunited. But at this point, they were separated. So I don't know. It was just, so that was from a kid's perspective, we knew a guy like this. And then I don't know. There have been a couple of times that I have felt like, because I feel like he was like the phantom of uh, the Toys R Us. And there have been a few times that I've been like, a phantom of something in my life, when I was kind of lying low for one reason or another, or something like that. So it's not an entirely unidentifiable experience to the past that I've had, but it kind of talks about how there's more to a person than their follies, and people who have good hearts can do you know bad things for a lot of good reasons. It really doesn't matter what the reason is. It's still a bad thing. That's not an excuse, and this kind of explores that, um, aspect of criminality. What is criminal, and the it just kind of gets into that. This is kind of almost like a heterosexual version of another movie called I Love You, Philip Morris, and that was also based on a true story. And uh, that involves a gay couple, and their story going through the criminal justice system and everything. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But The Roofman, and it's a comedy. I would not have expected to watch it, but I was on the Carnival cruise, and I watched it at their what they call their drive-in movie, or their movie night, or something like that. And you know what? I didn't. I just started. I sat down for a second, The movie hadn't been going that long, and I sat down just for a second, and it really kind of captured me. So it's going to be, oh yeah, um, this is going to be rated C, because it's one of those movies that I'd watch late night on a cruise ship, and I do not regret it. You know, so rated C for cruise movie night, and there you go. And I'm about to watch it again. How about that? Love and light, peace. Bye.